For around 50,000 years, Australia's only humans were the indigenous Aborigines. They lived side by side with the country's most dangerous animals. They even adopted a rainbow serpent as an important part of their legends. The later European settlers, though, didn't have such a philosophical attitude to the resident reptiles. They found an entire country full of dangerous creatures that lurk, slither, and scurry. In water, on land, even in the trees. There are over 800 different species of reptiles in Australia. While some are just likely to give a human a firm nip, others are the stuff of nightmares. They may be terrifying to humans, but they have their own challenges to overcome. The sheer size of Australia means it spans desert, tropical and temperate zones. The weather can be extreme and change in an instant. Sudden floods, bushfires, drought. Anything that lives here has to be as tough and adaptable as the climate and terrain. They must each have a strategy for survival. The amethystine or scrub python lives in the far northeast of the country. In Queensland's wet rainforests and dry woodlands. In these wild lands, it eats brush turkeys and even small kangaroos. But this clever snake has found another world, full of promise and prey. Suburbia. Far north Queensland is tropical and largely untamed. Humans tend to cluster together in pockets of habitation, mostly along the coastline. This female scrub python feels right at home. She's used to their buildings and noise, and when she visits, she likes nothing better than a chicken dinner. So she's employing a snaky secret weapon to sniff out a potential meal, chemoreception. She's using her tongue to pick up chemical traces of odour. Inside her mouth, a structure called the Jacobson's organ analyses these scent molecules. It can determine whether the smell is prey, a rival, a potential mate, or a predator. It's been suggested their tongues are forked for directional guidance, because the snakes may be able to detect which of the tips pick up the strongest scent. Snakes have evolved to fit all their organs into a long, narrow body. Their lungs, kidneys, and sex organs are greatly elongated. They have two of each of these organs, but instead of lying alongside each other in a pair, one is moved down towards the tail. They don't have a collarbone, but have more ribs and vertebrae than most animals. While humans have 33 vertebrae, most snakes have between 150 and 400. This makes them extremely flexible, and along with their powerful musculature, gives them their mesmerising, sinuous locomotion. The scrub python is Australia's largest snake, capable of reaching 8.5 metres long. So for her, suburban fences are a piece of cake. Her sense of smell leads her faithfully to the chicken coop. She begins her stakeout. She enters the chicken coop in the daylight. Then settles down and waits for nightfall. She's delaying her attack. The python's eyesight isn't as good as a human's. She can't afford to make a mistake with a strike. If she misses, the chicken would not only escape, but could injure her. And to smell a chicken is now all around her, so her chemoreception equipment is of less use. As the light levels reduce, she switches to another of her prey-detecting weapons. Infrared. Like many pythons, she has inbuilt heat-seeking equipment. These hollows in the snake's jaw are called labial pits, thermoreceptors that enable them to see heat. As the temperature drops towards the cool of night, the heat signatures of prey show up in greater contrast. Once locked onto a living heat source, the snake can time her strike. She can stay in the same ambush site for many days, waiting for prey to get close. The python doesn't intend to wait that long. She selects her victim. As she constricts her coils ever tighter, she cuts off the prey's blood supply. Compressed blood vessels prevent circulation to the brain and heart, and the victim quickly dies. Now she displays another snake survival adaptation. Even though she's a large snake, the chicken, by comparison with the size of her head, is massive. Comparable to a human eating a watermelon in one mouthful. Snakes don't have any way to dismember their prey into more manageable chunks. They have to swallow it whole. So snake skulls are heavily modified. Although the bones around the brain case are solid like humans, the rest of the bones in the head are held together by very flexible joints. So it's capable of a vast degree of distortion. Their lower jaws are in two halves, connected at the front by just muscle and ligament. Each side of the jaw can stretch very far apart, independently of the other. The snake walks the prey in over its teeth, drenching it with saliva to ease swallowing. Then, the snake's powerful muscles contract in waves to move the prey downwards. Afterwards, she needs to coil up and rest to aid digestion, which can take a number of days. This is another snake that's so highly adaptable, it happily lives side by side with mankind. The eastern brown. As well as frogs and birds, it especially likes the rats and mice that always live close to human populations. It's found all along the eastern coast, from northern Queensland to South Australia. The area is most densely populated by humans. It'll happily take shelter in man-made cover, like building sites. This snake is fast, nervous, and deadly. It's responsible for around half the snakebite fatalities every year. This is the snake most likely to bite and kill a human in the whole country. The eastern brown is highly venomous. Venom is modified saliva containing proteins and peptides. Within the mixture, there's a deadly cocktail of toxins. In Australia, around 500 people a year are hospitalised with snake bites. The eastern brown's venom is neurotoxic, causing muscle weakness and paralysis. While there is an anti-venom, an eastern brown bite needs fast treatment. Victims who don't get it in time can die of cardiac arrest within 30 minutes of being bitten. If they don't have a heart attack, the neurotoxin travelling around their body will eventually lead to respiratory failure. It's one of the most powerful snake poisons in Australia. But there's another snake species whose venom leaves all others in the dust. The legendary taipan. Of its two main species, the inland taipan is the undisputed champion of lethality. Although it almost exclusively eats rats and mice, one bite from this snake is capable of killing 100 men. But as it lives in the arid centre of the country, away from most human settlement, bites to people are very rare. Its cousin, the coastal taipan, is not only more aggressive than the Shire inland, it also lives much closer to humans along the northern and eastern coasts. The python uses sharp backwards pointing teeth to secure its prey before constricting it. But the venomous snake has an ingenious way of delivering its deadly poison as quickly as possible. Fangs. These curved, hollow teeth connect to venom glands. Large muscles squeeze the venom from the gland along into the fang. There are many different ways of measuring venom, but the taipans come out at the top of almost every list. Many live in the sugarcane crop fields of the northern and eastern coasts, which are usually infested with rats. So they're actually the farmers' friends. Absolutely nothing is as effective as the taipan in keeping rodent numbers down. An active hunter, the taipan uses its chemoreceptors to trail rodents back to their underground burrows, enter their homes, and envenomate everything it finds. "12mm fangs pump a deadly cocktail into the prey. Like the eastern brown, the taipan's venom is based on a neurotoxin that causes paralysis and respiratory failure. It also contains an enzyme that maximises absorption and an agent that interferes with the body's clotting ability, causing massive internal bleeding. The victim's urine may turn reddish-brown as the venom dissolves their muscles, which then pass through their kidneys. It's a murderous mixture. Until an anti-venom was developed in the 1950s, pretty much every bite to a human was fatal. But science is discovering that venom may also have the potential to save human lives. Venom is an incredibly active and complex substance, full of peptides and enzymes that are a treasure trove for medical researchers. Scientists are investigating the potential of venom-derived medicines to treat diabetes, high blood pressure, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. These potential benefits aside, snake venom remains one of the most noxious natural substances on the planet. Naturalists have long pondered why the deadliest snakes need their venom to be quite so toxic. One bite from a death adder or taipan is enough to kill their usual prey tens of thousands of times over. One theory on why their venom is so potent is that as the early Australian snakes were evolving millions of years ago, some of their prey began to develop a resistance to venom. As they evolved alongside each other, predator and prey may have become bound together in a biological arms race. snake venom needed to become more and more powerful to overcome the growing immunity of their prey, leaving today's venomous snakes with hugely toxic venom. Perhaps supporting this theory, some animals, like this skink, do have a measure of resistance to snake venom. In energy terms, making venom is expensive. But the advantages of having it are huge. In Australia's harsh climate, where nutrients are hard to come by, having excessively deadly venom may make the difference between life and death. Being able to overpower prey so quickly means there's less chance of injury to the snake from its panicking victim. Snakes, especially juveniles, can also bring down a much larger animal than they could without venom. Larger meals mean they can go for longer without food, essential in areas where prey is scarce.